This is the 7-Day Theory. I am John Day, bringing you that real, that raw, that uncut. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world.
Body, heart, spirit. What up, y'all? Check this. Today I want to talk about Akhenaten and how he changed the world and how he didn't let the world change him and how he changed the world. I made a short on this a little while ago, a couple days ago, but I wanted to go a little deeper in depth with it. If you don't know, I study revolutionaries from Akhenaten to Tupac, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. I just study men or women that changed the world or just had a different way of thinking than everybody else. And when you go back and look at these revolutionaries, the things that they did, like it sounded crazy at the time. Like it sounded at the time like almost nobody believes them or nobody is subscribing to their thought power patterns or to their theories at the time. But then like years later, what they're pretty much prophets, because what they're doing and saying, we have the advantage of history to know whether it came true or not, and it did come true. Akhenaten is the first person in history that we have proof of, that we have documented proof of, that believed in one God, one supreme being, one ultimate authority, one creator. He's the first person that did that. That was almost like 4,000 years ago, right? And that was the 18th dynasty. 18th dynasty also had King Tut, that was Akhenaten's son. And then Amenhotep III was Akhenaten's dad. Akhenaten was originally named Amenhotep IV. He changed his name, he changed his religion, he changed the art. I'll show y'all pics of the art. Pharaohs, they didn't really depict family life or them embracing their kids. Akhenaten did that. He pretty much had Nefertiti. She was pretty much like a co-king, co-queen, and that was not regular either. That was not ordinary either. The way he was depicted, the style in which he was depicted was not. It's different from any other pharaoh before and after. The way he depicted himself in the statues, he was almost womanly. He had it looked like he had breasts in some of the statues. He has voluptuous hips in some of the statues, like a little pot belly. Like whenever the pharaohs were depicted, they depict themselves like they're strong. If they had a belly, they probably wouldn't depict it. They were always like smiting their enemies, or you know what I mean, like those type of classic depictions of pharaohs. That's how they were depicted. And Akhenaten changed all that. He also had the I don't know if this was in real life or just in art, but he had the elongated head. Him and his family, and I believe they had it in real life because they had statues of his daughter that even had the elongated head. So I'm still trying to figure out what that's about or what they were trying to depict with the elongated head. It looks kind of alienish, but I think they were trying to depict like that's what they thought the gods looked like, or their god. But he was the first person in history to believe in one God, one supreme being, one ultimate authority. So like what he was born into, the tradition politically and religiously, for him to change that would be like America, right? We're mostly Christians. That'd be like the president saying, all right, we're not doing Christianity. I'm coming with this whole, and it wasn't even like, it was pretty much a whole nother religion, but it was an older religion because the Aten had been around before Akhenaten was born. But it was like hundreds of years ago before him. Where it was more popular, but he just brought it to the forefront and said, "This is the only supreme being. It's the Aten, the creator." So a lot of his depiction also, how he was depicted. I think he was playing with the idea that God is both male and female. How he was depicting himself as with having feminine features. Akhenaten, he changed things politically, religiously, artistically. He changed the capital of Egypt. He changed it. He went to a desert and built up a whole new city. In present day, it's called Armana. So he changed everything. And like I said, these revolutionaries, they're prophetic because in his day, as soon as he died, in Akhenaten's day, as soon as he died, they went right back to worshiping multiple gods. Right back, like almost immediately after his death, and after his reign. But like I said, they're prophetic because years later, the things that they did it's in general now. Everybody it's in the general pop now. Everybody is doing it. Like now, Christianity and the worship of one God, and Judaism and Islam, those are all the worship of one God, and that's what Akhenaten started thousands of years ago. So that's why I say they're prophetic, and they're not really respected in their time because their thought patterns are so different, and the things that they're bringing are so different that people are so used and set in their ways that they can't even, that their mind state is not even in the place to accept that change. You know what I mean? It's hard to change people's thoughts religiously and their beliefs, and because it's personal, it's to them. So it's hard to do that, and it's also hard to change it politically too. But yeah, a lot of stuff that he did and said, that's what we do now. It's like normal today. Like back then, it was probably looked at as bizarre, crazy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing this type of thing. Like, what's wrong with him? But today, it's simply just normal. This is what most people believe is in one God. Now, I take a page out of Akhenaten's book, and I believe everybody can, because we're born into this world, right? We have all these rules, these traditions. We have these stereotypes that's put on us just as men and women that were here before we were born, and might be here after we're gone. But I don't subscribe to the theory of just because I'm born into a world that thinks or does things a certain way, that I have to do it the same or act the same or think the same. I do not subscribe to that at all. Like, I don't let people put me in a box. Like a lot of people, they'll stereotype themselves. Like whether it's a female and she might like some more manly things, but she won't do it because she's a girl, and people might think a different way about her. Or if you grew up in the hood or you grew up in the streets, and you want to do something that is looked at as corny or weird or different than what the stereotypes of somebody that lives in the hood as. Like I read comic books. I know before, like I was like when I first started reading comic books, I would literally like hide it because I thought it wasn't cool. I thought people would look at me like what the, like, is this a nerd or something? You know what I mean? So I hid it at first. Now I don't care. I don't care. I don't put myself in a box. Like if I want to go skiing, I'm gonna go skiing. Like a lot of these things we hold ourselves back on because we're worried about what other people think. And that's the thing that we gotta let go of. The only thing that matters as far as what people think is what you think of yourself. Don't matter what your family, your friends, your boss, your co-workers, it don't matter what they think, because everybody is gonna have an opinion. But that's all it is, an opinion. It's not a fact. The only opinion that matters is the one of yourself. So that's why I said we can take a page out of Akhenaten's book, because he was born with all this pressure, all this political pressure, all this religious pressure, all this artistic pressure, and he did a total 180 and went the completely different way. And so if he can do that with all that pressure back in them days, then we can definitely do our part, just so you can be happy within your own life and love yourself. So Akhenaten, he also changed his name, which is almost unheard of. He changed the way he was depicted and looked upon. There was no cameras back then. There wasn't no Facebook, wasn't none of this electronic stuff, right? They couldn't take pictures, so you would barely. The only time that common people would see the pharaoh is his reliefs or his statues, and so he made himself look very different, very exaggerated features. He probably looks closely to that, but not exactly like one to one. There probably was a little bit of exaggeration because he have like this long chin, and but it's a powerful look. Like when I first seen Akhenaten, when I first seen the image, the statue, one of the most I'll put it up on the screen. One of the most famous depictions of him is one of his famous statues with his arms crossed. I was like this guy looks different. Like I've seen pharaohs, but this guy looks different than any human I've ever seen before. There's something striking. His eyes are real big and elongated. So just just as far as this image, the first time I seen it, it struck me as powerful and different. And that was completely him. I don't know if he drew or he sculpted or not, but we know that he didn't sculpt his own and he didn't make his own relief. So, but it was from his mind. He told the sculptors and the painters how to depict him. So it was all coming from his mind. So he had an artistic mind for sure. He was a deep thinker. If y'all don't know, he created the hymn to the Aten, one of the most famous hymns that some say that they compare to one of the Psalms hymns in the Bible. It's very similar, talking about how the sun, how the Aten, the god, the energy, and his religion wasn't just worship of the sun. It was the energy behind the sun, like the Ka, the soul of it, not just the sun as a disk. But the psalm, the hymn to the Aten, he was talking about why it's compared to the Psalms. He was talking about the Aten, how it gives life to the birds, to the trees, to the plants. He knew even back then, like in those hymns, it's almost scientific. Like how he knew that the sun created different languages, because they had different people back then and different shades of people, and different people from different regions had different languages, and that's because of the sun. So it was very scientific. He or them back then had, I believe, a way more understanding than the general archaeologists or historians give them credit for. Because if you just read that hymn to the Aten, it's a beautiful hymn, and it's really like scientific, because we do need the sun for warmth, light, energy. Plants and animals definitely need it, and that's what he was talking about, and that's why it's compared to Psalms, to one of the verses in Psalms, or one of the poems in Psalms in the Bible. But let me know what y'all think. Like I always say, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. 7 Day. I'm out.